Hey, Steve here. I want to talk to you today about the Nasdaq system and the Nasdaq holiday stats. The only place I trade this is at Nadex, although you can trade it at IG Index. Nadex is available for people in the US, Canada, and Mexico. So if you're in those three countries, I would suggest Nadex. They're CFTC regulated and so forth. IG Index is their parent company, which is a large company over in Europe. I also have a Facebook page for this particular system, which you can find here. I have changed things a little bit. In this video I'm going to show you some of the stats, but also how to trade it and just some tips and tricks about it. In 2015 I've decided just to release all the data to you, so you're going to get every single date. So we're going to go through every single date all the way, January 1st all the way through December 1st or December 31st. Now, a few things on this. I only take the trades that are 67%, I only take the trades that are 70% or higher. So what I did is I put those in red, so they're easily to check out. And you can do whatever you want. Obviously, I don't suggest doing the stuff that's 52% and so forth, but do whatever you want. And then you can monitor it and change it as is. A few things on this, like for example, January 9th is 18 up, 13 down, 58%. It will probably take 7 to 8 years if this was 25 and 13, for example. You're still under. You would still be under that 75 or 70% threshold. So it would take a while for these that are in the 50%, maybe a decade, to get up to that 70% number. So I would just kind of monitor the ones that are in the upper 60s, but again, I only trade the ones that are 70% plus. So in this particular case, January 6th, 22 up days, 8 down days, 30 years, and it's 73% of the time it has finished up. These dates are based on the Nasdaq Composite. So Nasdaq Composite started in the early 70s, so that's over 40 years. The reason you don't see 40 years here is because sometimes on January 6th falls on a Saturday and Sunday. So you're not going to get that many. You're not going to get all 40. And there'll be other dates. For example, if I scroll down to, say, May 27th. May 27th, you only have 25 dates. The reason for that is May 27th not only also falls on a Saturday, Sunday, but can fall on a Monday, Memorial Day, and that particular, if it falls on Memorial Day, the markets are closed. So Memorial Day is the last Monday in May for us in the US, so that's why you only have 25 dates instead of the 30, 32 dates, etc. So what I would basically do is January 6th, it's an up day historically, so I want to be in the up direction, and I'd be buying the Nasdaq for that particular day. So I'd be buying for this particular day, and this is a close-to-close system. So for example, if January 6th is a Tuesday, for example, I want to enter as close to Monday's close as I can. So, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, but it is a close-to-close system. It is based on the Nasdaq Composite. It is not based on the Nasdaq Futures or the Nasdaq 100, etc. It is based on a close-to-close system. So it's based on wherever January 5th closed to wherever January 6th closed. And that's how you get the pricing from CNBC or your newspaper or whatever else you look at. Is it's always a close to close. So if the Nasdaq says it was up 20 points yesterday, it's up 20 points from the previous day's close to today's close. It's not from today's open to close. It's from close to close. So that is what the system is based on. So January 6th, 73% of the time historically has finished up. So I'm going to be going in that direction. January 14th, 81% up, etc., etc. We also have the holiday statistics, and these are basically the day before Labor Day historically, and that's going to be a different day every year. So Labor Day in the U.S. is the first Monday in September, so it's going to be you know, the day before that. So it's the Friday before that, and that's going to be a different date every year. Day before Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is the fourth Thursday in November. So the day before Thanksgiving is going to be a different date every year, but you can see the results here, and so forth. So this is the same type of way to trade it. So the day before Christmas, I'll be buying the Nasdaq and holding for the day. So that is the system as a whole. You can read more about it on the site. I'm not going to go into too much on that in this video, but you can read about the different history and so forth of that. But I want to show you how to trade it. And actually, you can see a trade here. This actual trade is for a trade after Christmas, the day after Christmas. This is a trade I placed the other day. Now, so let's say we have a buy trade in the Nasdaq. Now there is a couple. Let me go back there a second. There is a couple of days that it's down. So, for example, February 21st, that is a down day. There isn't too many of those, but there are a few down days. Note down on August 19th. So there are a few, so you want to make sure you note that as well. But most of them are going to be up days. But if you go over to Nadex, again, I'm trading at Nadex. If you trade somewhere else, you can trade. It'll be a little different if you're trading at IG, etc. So over here at Nadex, I log in, click on Indices Binaries. It's called the US Tech 100 over at Nadex. And actually what this is trading, it's not trading the Nasdaq Composite, which the system is based off of. It's trading the US Tech 100 or the Nasdaq 100, and it's actually trading the Nasdaq 100 futures. So the pricing is going to be a little different. Now, if the Nasdaq Composite goes up 25 points, the Nasdaq 100 futures will go up nearly equivalent. So each day is going to be a little different. So it's not a great apples to apples comparison, but it's the best I have as far as trading this. So if the Nasdaq Composite is up 3 points, it's very possible that the Nasdaq 100 futures end up being down 2 points. On close days like that, that is absolutely possible. But in the end, it tends to even out. So in other words, if the Nasdaq Composite is down 3 points, it's possible that the Nasdaq 100 futures ends up a couple of points and you end up winning the trade. So, but over time, those things are going to even out. But again, it's not an exact apples to apples, but it's closest we got for Nadex. And I believe IG Index, if you're trading over there, you trade the US Tech 100, and that's just the index. It's not the futures. So, but anyways, let's say we have a trade and it's a buy trade. A couple of things. If you have a buy trade on a Monday, again, this is a close-to-close system, so it's basically based on Friday's close to Monday's close. The problem at Nadex is they don't open up your Nasdaq trading until about 3 in the morning on Sunday night, Monday morning. So you could have a gap up in that particular case. So if you want to get up at 3 in the morning to take the trade, you can. Usually what I do is I just wake up at my normal time, take a look at where the market is, and place the trade. It's a little different on a Monday. If the trade happens on a Tuesday, so that the actual date is for Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, what you would do at Nadex is trade it at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. So at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Nadex refreshes all this stuff, and they will have a daily entry available. So if, again, I click on Indices and Binaries, click on Daily 415, and say this was at 6 p.m. Last night, I could place, I look over here in the indicative price. This is what the price of the thing is. I always want to be in the money if at all possible, meaning the market's at 42.94. I'd want to pick the 42.92. And the reason for that is in case the market just kind of sits there, doesn't do a whole lot, or maybe even goes down a point or so, I could still potentially win the trade. I don't want to usually buy something where it has to go up in order for me to win. So in this case, the 42.96, if the market just stayed there or even went up 1 point, I would still end up losing the trade. So I like to be in the money if at all possible, but I don't like to pay more than $57 for a contract usually. So and I'll show you a trade here in a little bit. Again, I have other traders who will take stuff that's far in the money, so they'll take the 42.84 and you're 10 points in the money, and they're willing to pay the $77 for it, and go from there. So it just depends on what you want to do, and that's why I have the trade with goal section, and you can take a look at that. And I have other traders that'll take the stuff that's far out of the money. They'll say, okay, I'm looking for a big move in the Nasdaq, and they'll take the 43.04 and pay $28 for it to win 71. So just depends on how you want to do it. Again, the way I teach it and the way I show it is basically right at the money, in the money a tiny bit if at all possible. So the one I'd be most interested in here is the 42.92. So I'm going to click on that. It's a buy trade, so I'm going to click on the blue side there. It has the blue side highlighted there. You put the size in. We can put the size of 1. They have the bid and the offers listed here, and then you can buy it for whatever price it's at. So it's at $60 right now. I can hit place order, and I would end up buying it for whatever the market price is, $60.50. Even though it says $61.50 here, they would fill me at whatever the market price is, up to $61.50. And you can see here the maximum loss is $61.50. So that's how much they're going to take out of my account if once I place the trade. And if the trade wins, my maximum profit is $38.50. So whatever percentage that is. So if it wins, I'll get $100, which is my cost plus the profit. The other thing I can do is I can put in a limit order and say, okay, I do want the 42.92, but I only want to pay $50 for it. So I could put a limit price of $50 in, and then when I hit place order, instead of, now let me go back to that particular screen, instead of it filling me right at the current market, because again the current market's $60, I said I'm only willing to pay $50 for the particular contract. So if the market comes down a little bit and hits that $50 number, I'll get filled at that price. So that is something unique to Nadex. You can't do that at IG, but you can do that at Nadex. And in this particular case, if you paid $50 for it, you would 100% return. So if you click on working orders up there, you can see that it's in my working orders, and the current price is $59.50, and I'm willing to pay $50 for it. Now let's say, like in this particular case, I don't want to keep that working order, or I want to modify it. All I have to do is click on the actual contract there in my working orders, and I can change it. So I can change it to, if I want to change it to 33, and then you see the price change to 33. Or if I wanted to move it up to 58 or whatever the number is, I can do that. And then I can also delete it, which is what I'm going to do right now. So, and then you can see it's no longer in my working orders there. And the other thing is, you can see, hopefully you can see on the screen here, let me move this over a little bit. This particular trade that I placed the other day, for this Nasdaq trade, this was in the money. I ended up paying $62.50 for it. I'm not going to go into why and all that stuff, but I ended up paying $62.50 for it. The current market's 86, so if I wanted to get out of the market right now, it's $86. Profit is $23, so whatever is it 40% or so return on investment if I decided to exit the position right now. There's still almost 7 hours left in this particular trade. And the market's at 42.94, so I am up, what is that, 18 or 16 points or so on this particular trade. So the Nasdaq would have to fall more than 16 points in the next 7 hours for me to lose the trade. Otherwise, if I let it go for the next 6 hours and 46 minutes and it finishes above 42.78, this will read $100 and I'll get $100 for it. But let's say, okay, I think, well, $22 is enough profit for me. I don't want to risk it. What I can do is it's in my open positions. I just click on it, and then it's automatically going to put this in red because I already have it on the buy side. I own it, so it's going to flip it to the sell side. It's going to give me my size, whatever amount of size I have, and then it's going to put the price of whatever the price is. And then I can hit place order, and I'm out of the trade, assuming that the market hasn't moved significantly. And that's what you have to monitor here. So currently, it's my price is 85.25, but the market has moved down to 82.50. So, in order for me to exit the position, I'd have to get out at that point. But the other thing to do is, let's say you place the trade. Let's say I place the trade at $62. And I don't necessarily need the full profit, but anytime it hits, say, $95, it'll exit me. So I'm gonna place that trade and place the order, I should say. And if I click on over into my working orders, you can see that it didn't exit me. But if I go into my working orders, you'll see it priced at $95. If I click on it, you'll see it in green here, which indicates that's my particular trade. So if the market comes up to $95, it's going to automatically exit me out of my open position. So instead of having to wait, this could happen in the next 5 minutes, or it may never happen. It might happen in the last 2 minutes. If you're still up by 5 points, and there's only 5 minutes left, somebody's probably going to end up buying that particular contract from me for $95. So that's the other thing you can do as well, is place the trade and place a limit order, and then just kind of walk away, and whatever happens as well. So there's a lot of different ways to trade at Nadex. Hopefully this was helpful in doing that. I'm actually going to delete the remainder because I want to be in this trade till the end. So that's the kind of the reasoning behind the Nasdaq. Again, all these dates, what I did for all these particular dates, going back to this a second, is I did the research many years ago and just went through every single date. So January 2nd every single year, 1985, 1986, 1987, and was it up, was it down, and put it in the up column or down column, and did that. Now at this point, it's just adding an additional year, so it's not as much work. So in 2016, all I have to do is write the January 2nd, was it up or down. So anyways, that's kind of the background behind it. Again, I talk a little bit more about it on the site. Hopefully this video is helpful on how to trade it. I do have webinars usually for the Nasdaq system as well, so make sure you're on the email list and you check out the Facebook page, because I do post on there as well. So hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully you can use this system for years to come. It is quite profitable. Usually the most profitable times tend to be November, December, and January. You get the most of your trades during that time because of the holidays. You get the day before Thanksgiving, day after Thanksgiving, day before Christmas, day after Christmas, day before New Year. So that's 5 trades right there, plus December has a couple of trades as well, and November has a few trades, and then January has a few trades as well. So those tend to be the 3 most profitable months, and we'll see what happens. So hope you enjoy it. Take care. Talk to you later.